Are you looking to get certified in project management? Well, let me tell you what I wish somebody would have told me. So first off, no, there are many project management certifications out there. However, they typically all sift down to PMP, which is the massive one, the Project Management Professional. It's the acronyms everybody wants after their name, and its little known little brother, CAPM. I actually want to talk a little bit more about CAPM today than PMP because it's really useful for a lot of people that are getting started. See, PMI, the organization that owns these certifications, that builds them, maintains them, etc., recently revised CAPM to take away the necessary requirement for real-world experience. Until recently, you had to have thousands of hours of real-world experience to even go and apply to get the CAPM certification. Now that's gone, which is awesome because a lot of people are trying to get started in project management, but they don't know where to begin. CAPM is your spot, and the great news is it's based on the PMBOK. Think of this as your Bible for getting project management certified, and it is probably one of the most difficult to read texts you will ever encounter, and that's because it's not meant to be read. If you look at this thing, essentially, the goal somebody had of putting this together was to try and take, gobs of real-world experience, management experience, technical skill, and all of this, and put it into one book. And that's what they called the PMBOK, right? The Project Management Body of Knowledge. Now, I want to get to what I was wanting to get you started with. One of the things you'll find out real quick when you dive into these certifications is this chart right here. And if you don't understand this chart, you'll be really lost for a long time. What it is talking about the knowledge areas, process groups, and processes that help you become a project manager. In this video, I just want to show you how those work. There are 10 knowledge areas. Now, there's no deep meaning to this word. When you hear knowledge areas, I literally want you to think of areas of knowledge, right? These are things like scope management, which is all the knowledge of how to manage the scope of a project. Another one might be stakeholder management, which is all the knowledge needed to manage the stakeholders, the people that are involved with or affected by the project. That's a lot of knowledge. I mean, think about that. Think about what it takes to manage people that are either affected by or involved with a project. I mean, you're thinking about, okay, how do you keep them on track? How do you manage it when they start fighting? How do you manage it when this guy's like, well, I thought the project was supposed to be this, and this one's like that. So when you think of a knowledge area, it's like, there's so much that can go into managing the people that are involved in that project. So just remember, there are 10 of these, and you can find all of them in the PMBOK. Now let me move over to the next puzzle piece, the 5 process groups. Now again, I want you to think about this name logically. These are groups of processes, right? And if there's one thing, it will probably be the first thing that you learn when you get into project management is the names of those groups. Initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and lastly, closing. I'm running out of room there. I just noticed I'm running out of room here too. I wrote right off the screen. These process groups line up to those 10 knowledge areas and then contain the 47 processes that make up project management. So just as a simple example, take scope management. This is an area of knowledge. Again, how do you manage the scope of a project, right? That's a knowledge area. Okay, now in the initiating phase of a project, you're kind of figuring out, is this even a thing? I mean, what does the customer think about this? Let's gather their requirements. Is this good for the business? I mean, what are we thinking? Is this something we even want to do, right? That's the initiating project phase. And there's not really any process that deals with scope management in the initiating phase because we don't even know if there's going to be a scope. It's like, let's get this thing started. Now, if the project survives the initiation, right, now you move into the planning process groups, and there's 4 individual processes that deal with scope management in this process group. Just to give you an idea, one of them is define scope, right? That's a process. There's a whole process and procedure to defining a scope the right way. Another one is create the WBS, the work breakdown structure, the list of the activities that should be done once you move into that executing process group that we have right here. Now, once you move into the executing process group, there are no scope management processes, right? Because we've managed the scope right here in planning. Executing is just carrying out the things that we defined. As you can imagine, it's kind of difficult to try and organize all the knowledge necessary to manage projects, manage people, manage all kinds of stuff along with the processes necessary. So that's what this chart was created for. And if you don't have the premise of how this chart works right from the beginning, you'll be going through the PMBOK or other project management material and you're like, what's going on here? Why are we keep coming back to this process? And how does that fit, right? Just remember, it's this simple. 3 things. An area of knowledge that is applied across 5 groups of processes. And inside of those groups, there's 47 individual processes that makes project management successful. It's that simple.